There are certain things which you need to take care of while doing Schriftliche Fehlerkorrektur, and these are represented in this slide. It is always important that by Schriftliche Korrektur you speak with the students. This helps the students to self-correct on their own. So make sure you give them the Korrektur Kennzeichen key so that they can understand what those symbols basically mean. Use the grammatic terminology from the book and use the Korrektur Kennzeichen according to the classroom level. A1 class, you only use conjugation etc. Don't use tempo etc. for the A1 class. Now to allow Weiterlernen, you must now set Spielerische Übung as a Gruppenarbeit for this Schriftliche Korrektur. So what you can do is basically you can list out all the error text and find out how frequent one particular class makes errors and in which area. Divide the class into groups and every group works on a particular error. Do the exercise where the Richtige Korrekturzeichen and the failure art can be zugeordnet. So you list out the errors and then you list out the failure section. So in this case conjugation, preposition, genus etc. and you have the errors and do match the following. So that way you can do a Spielerische Übung of the Schriftliche errors. Now once you have done that exercise, you must talk about the corrected Schriftliche production. How to write it error free. So whenever you are executing this Gespräch, make sure it's funny, it's honest, not super critical, but at the same time understandable. Tell them the reasons how these errors happened. Give them exercise suggestions which will help them to improve. If some students have bigger problems, give them an individual Besprechungsmöglichkeit. You can basically excite the students by showing your class has done so many errors which are statistically this much, and then you can ask them to find out what other errors are frequent and ask them to find out the reason for the same. We now move on to Mündliche Fehlerkorrektur. Here we describe the problems of Mündliche Fehlerkorrektur. It is not easily plannable like a Schriftliche Fehlerkorrektur and is a big challenge for the teacher. A Mündliche Fehlerkorrektur happens for a lot of reasons, basically due to time of the day, what is the current exercise that is being practiced. So these things play a very big role and need to be considered. So what are they found while doing the Mündliche Korrektur research? They found that the teachers find that Mündliche Korrektur has got very less value because the students don't take it very honestly. And they also found out that the teachers correct a lot. This is the feedback from the students. If you see, the research findings are contradicting. So to avoid this contradiction, you can make these conclusions from the research. The teachers have fear that the students might learn something wrong. The teachers have very least view. They don't know how the learn process takes place in the mind of individual learner, individual students. The teachers have the marked position. They are like the big boss. So these are all some of the guesses which you can make from the research of Mündliche Fehlerkorrektur. It was also found that most corrected errors are morphosyntactische error, basically Satzaufbau error. Then we move on to Arten der Mündlichekorrektur. You have something called as Korrektur, where you correct the error without even considering the Absicht of the student. Then you have something called as reparator, where you correct the error considering the upsist of the student as to what he was trying to say. Then you have Reaktion zum Fehler. You can ignore the error, don't do anything. You can missbilligen. The teacher basically says that no, it is incorrect and doesn't really explain why it is incorrect. That's all. No, wrong, over, next. Then you have helfen. The teacher says it is incorrect and then gives tips based on the reaction from the students, and then finally gets the correct sentence out. Then you have something called as Direkte Korrektur. Here the teacher stops the student, corrects the sentence, gives the correct formation. So that way, whatever the student was trying to communicate, it will be halted, and there is a chance that the student might miss what he wanted to communicate. Then you have something called as Indirekte Korrektur. Here the teacher won't stop the Kommunikationsfluss. What he or she will do is basically repeat or imitate the student with the correct formulation. So that way the Kommunikationsfluss will not be broken, the student will not be demotivated, and he will continue with the communication.
With that, the chapter comes to an end. Please feel free to like, subscribe and comment to the channel. If you have any questions, then contact me via email or put down your comments and I'll be able to reply. Thank you.